Welcome to Sports,
A network.
I'm Scramble James,
I'm Kenny S.
and we're debuting a brand new show called Puckin' Around.
Where we'll talk about everything NHL and NHL related.
In our first episode, broken up into two parts, we'll talk about the 2025-26 season for the NHL, making full predictions for each division. Starting off, we're going to check in on the Central Division. Kenny, what do you think about the Central?
You know, the Central Division's looking like one of the most interesting divisions in hockey right now. I think it could be the toughest division this season. You have teams like the Avalanche, the Stars, the Jets, the Blues, the Mammoth, who could even make the playoffs. I mean, this division is packed. So I think kind of going down the list, I would put the Avalanche as number one, taking the division at 108 points this year. I think they look amazing on paper. They have a great top six. Their defense is world class. I think the one question is can they stay healthy? Can they, make it past their first round woes of the last couple seasons?
If you guys didn't notice that we are
Little
Avalanche
Puckin.
fans, so we do want to specify that we're a little bit of a homer on that topic. But the Avs do look awesome
They
on
do
paper.
look good.
They
do
look so good.
I'm coming in second of this division. I'd have to say the Dallas Stars. They're retaining most of their talent. A couple of things to look at. They fired their coach at the end of the season, Pete DeBoer, after some playoff woes and a little bit of issues with the goaltending. They got Ottinger in net. They've got an amazing defensive lineup. They've got Rantanen on their team,
What a trade.
which I couldn't believe. But, I think the Dallas Stars are looking great, and I think they're set up for another great season here in the Central Division.
I think the big question there is if they can maintain the success without as deep of a forward core.
Indeed.
That's been their superpower for the last couple of years. And this year, they're looking at a pretty weak fourth line, in my opinion, and they're really banking on Duchesne continuing to produce into his 30s to keep and Sagan. I feel better about Sagan than Duchesne, but we'll see if they can pull it off.
I think Ottinger and DeSmith is quite the goalie combo for them as
Yeah.
well. It's like one of the best combos in the NHL. I think Ottinger is going to have a Vezina Trophy season personally, that's to be determined.
Yeah. I think that's something to note just about the Central in general is you have these epic goalie combos. You have Dallas with, Ottinger and DeSmith. You've got Winnipeg with, of course, Hellebuck and holding it down. And then their backup, who's also super sick. And then you also have Colorado with their...
don't forget the Wood Bros.
Dude, the Lumberyard.
Coming in fourth in this division, I put the Jets, third in this division. I put the Jets at third with about 100 points. The big question, how will Hellebuck play? Will he have another amazing regular season and a mediocre postseason? Tough to say. I'm usually pretty let down with the Jets in the playoffs, but I
think everybody has been let down with the Jets in the playoffs. The Winnipeg fans, we're sorry, but your team has kind of choked.
They got to figure it out.
Yeah,
for sure.
You're like the Toronto that isn't as famous or well known.
Coming in next, I would say the St. Louis Blues at 4 in this division.
Wait, before we go to Winnipeg, Winnipeg, I just want to bring up Jonathan Taves.
Oh, yeah.
That's a huge wild card, and I actually am feeling bullish on Taves. I think he's going to come out and he's going to have a good season. I don't think he's going to be, what he was.
Of course.
But I don't think he's going to be a slouch by any means.
And
I think he's going to be totally proficient as the second line center.
Is he filling in as top line center for the first month or so? Isn't Scheifele hurt, if I'm not mistaken?
Is Scheifele hurt? I don't know if Scheifele's hurt or not. Let's check. Okay, go on to St. Louis and I'll check. See. Yeah.
Check back with Scheifele. Got it. The St. Louis Blues, I put them at fourth. I think they had a lot of momentum coming into the end of the season last year. I think, Bennington, he's getting more and more consistent every season. I think they could be the dark horse this year and actually maybe even place a little bit higher. But I have them with 96 points. Coming in next at fifth, we have the Mammoth. I think they are another dark horse team.
Sorry to interrupt. Mark Scheifele is not hurt to start the season. I didn't think so, but I wasn't sure. And then with the Blues, I just want to stress that, dude, Montgomery as their coach is such the X factor. And that dude, I can't believe Boston let him go, A. And then B, St. Louis moving to get him. And I think that you said it there, like a dark horse, but I think because it'll be a full year with Jim Montgomery systems And like, I don't think you can underestimate how good of a coach that guy is. And wouldn't be surprised to see them competing for second in the Central.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. That's why I think the Central Division is so interesting. You just have so many teams that could end up 1 or 2, and honestly, some of these teams are not going to make the playoffs, and it's a little sad to see, to be honest, because I think all of these teams deserve a shot at the Cup,
except for Chicago.
Yeah, well, Sorry, Chicago. We're getting there. We're getting to Chicago here. They rebuild for quite a while. I had the Mammoth at 5th, 93 points this season. I think they have a lot of assets coming in, but I also just don't think that they have had enough time together to really be a powerhouse in the division. Minnesota Wild are another very interesting team to talk about. I think with the Kaprizov situation, that could drastically change the outlook on this team. Like
we're like too familiar with that kind of drama. Like last year with Rantanen, and that whole situation was just kind of a disaster, and frankly affected the Colorado Avs an incredible amount last year.
Yeah.
And then you have Minnesota that's looking at basically the same situation this year, except you could, I think, rightfully argue that Kaprizov is way more important to Minnesota than Rantanen was to Colorado.
100%.
So it's like you have your best player that might need to get traded depending on how those contract negotiations go.
Yeah, and I mean, would you think that Minnesota would basically make this a rebuild then and go for picks, or do you think they'd be trying to reload and go for some assets that maybe would help them kind of replace Kaprizov and make a run?
I mean, a player of Kaprizov's standing and ability, I think they'd get players and picks.
Okay.
But I think it'd be more geared towards rebuilding, which would be sad because I feel like they've kind of been stuck in that a little bit. Not rebuild, but a retool.
Yeah. They've always been kind of at the lower end of the cusp, making it some years, not quite making it others.
Totally. And they just got rid of some massive salary cap responsibility by stretching Parise's contract. I think.
Yeah.
It might not be Parise. I can't remember.
And they signed Rossi this year as well, right?
Yeah.
So they were planning on going on a run, I think.
Yeah. Well, Bill Guerin, their GM, did come out and say that he wants to sign Kaprizov, which of course you would say
who doesn't, right?
Yeah, exactly. But then he also said that the Wild were not the ones to leak any of the information about the current contract negotiations. So, and he doesn't know who did that. So you can kind of see like a window into his mind of like he is trying to negotiate in good faith and wants to do right by the player and set the player up. So there's a part of me that thinks that they're going to get this deal done unless Kaprizov is just like, I don't want to be here.
Right.
I'm out. Because like,
they're going to pay. How long do you think he's going to wait? Do you think he's going to wait to see if one of these bigger names signs? I mean, he is one of the biggest names that's a free agent, right? Outside of McDavid, I can't really think of a bigger name.
He could wait until McDavid signs, but I mean, McDavid's not in a rush, and he said it. So it's kind of also like there's kind of a little bit of like, Russian roulette with the Wild and Kaprizov of like, well, who's gonna blink first? Who's gonna go? And make whatever decision. And we saw last year with the Avs that. Chris McFarland was like, nope, we're not playing that game. And we got to move on. So,
for the better or worse, but at least it puts the team in a position where they know what they have. Yeah. They know what they're moving forward with. Having that kind of uncertainty, in my opinion, can really be a drain on a team.
Totally. Yeah. So we'll see what happens with them.
And now moving on to maybe the bummer department of the division, the Nashville Predators. I just want to say I gave...
the bummer bin.
The bummer bin, yeah. I do want to say I gave Minnesota Wild 89 points for the season, pulling them into 6th place of the division. And then the Predators and the Blackhawks are kind of the last two to talk about. I put the Predators at 7 with 82 points and the Blackhawks at 8 with 76 points. I think it could go either way. The Blackhawks are just in such a tough shape as far as like experience and rebuilding. They have so many young guys. Yeah. Bedard's a great player, but he can't put the whole team on his back for the whole season. It's just not the case.
Totally.
And then the Predators are in a very weird spot. They've got a couple of good players, but I also feel like they just have so many holes in their lineup that it just doesn't seem like a filled out roster fully yet. And we'll see how that changes throughout the year.
Yeah. And defensively, the Predators, I mean, they're just like, they are suspect, to say the the least. And Roman Yossi's 35. I love that guy. I think that guy's
do too.
A stud. But yeah, we'll see if he can kind of keep it up. And then also, Jules Saros, can he re-find his form? I mean, last year was not a good year.
Yeah,
for him.
He had a tough year.
It is an Olympic year, so you think he might really push to find that. But with a Noonan behind him, it's really like Saros needs to make it work.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're doomed. I also want to give a shout out with the Predators of just like Philip Forsberg. You are an absolute badass.
Yeah, I love watching him play hockey.
I would love to see that guy on a team that I root for. And then another wild card with them is Ryan O'Reilly.
Yeah.
Gonna be on their team at the end of the year. If they tank, he's a great trade piece.
Totally.
He's only got a $4.5 million cap hit. He's in a third of fourth year, so he's still guaranteed for the next year. So they could get some real assets for him at the trade deadline, and someone like that's pushing to make a cup run, and especially Winnipeg, if they're looking for another center for their depth, that really could put them in a good position.
Yeah, so I think that kind of rounds out the Central Division. I guess just a quick summary. I have the Avs and Dallas at 1 and 2, and then I have the Blackhawks at the very bottom of the bin. Yeah, Scramble, you want to
Blackhawks in the bummer bin?
Yeah, they're too familiar with that place lately. Yeah. So let's go ahead and move on to the Pacific Division. Scramble will take it away.
Stay in the Western Conference. All right, so first off, at the top of the Pacific, I have Vegas Golden Knights. I actually have them being the number one team in the conference at 113 points. Their center and forward depth is crazy. You have Eichel, Carlson, and Hurdle as your center line, and then you have Barbashev, Marner, Stone as your wings, and they're depth wings or maybe a little suspect, but Vegas has always been really good at getting the maximum amount out of their wings, especially their depth wings. And so I guess I trust the coaching staff there to really kind of turn a coal into a diamond. I think a question mark for them is, their defense, with Pietrangelo stepping away. That is a big hole. And I looked it up, and he's stepping away indefinitely, but he's not officially retired. And so I was like, is this another one of Vegas's ploys?
They got a new loophole.
They always seem to do that. So I don't know. Maybe that's a wild card of Pietrangelo coming back. I don't think so. I think so either, I think that dude is really hurt and just kind of he's had a good career. He's won a cup. So, and then for them, another thing that I think is going to push them forward is I think Aiden Hill is going to be an absolute monster in the to the Olympics. Because, dude, that guy wants to beat out Binnington to be Canada's goalie. I mean, and all the other Canadian goalies. But, Aiden Hill, I think, is pissed that he wasn't starting at the Four Nations.
See that. I will say that's a tough hill to climb because Binnington,
no pun intended,
in these situations, I feel like Binnington always rises to the occasion.
Dude, that guy is clutch.
I'm like, he'll be playing terrible for 2 or 3 weeks, and all of a sudden he is the best goalie on the planet.
Yeah,
and it's like, where did this guy come from?
He's clutch. All you got to do is piss him off though, and then he just blows it. Hence Naz Kadri. But yeah, so I got Vegas as 1. I got Edmonton as 2, kind of right behind them at 107. Edmonton, I mean, we kind of know is a known quantity. They returned a bunch of their core. They retooled their depth. They're really relying on McDavid, Draisaitl, and Nugent Hopkins in the center to distribute and create for their wings because their wing depth is awful. I looked at their wings today and I was like, this would not fly on any team where McDavid and Draisaitl are not your number 1 and 2 centers because they just aren't good enough to create for themselves. Basically, they're hard workers though, which is what you need next to superstars like McDavid and Draisaitl. And then Nugent Hopkins is not to be underestimated. That dude is scary good.
Also, all clutch players. Obviously McDavid and Draisaitl, but I think Nugent Hopkins really rises to the occasion as well.
Yeah.
I'd like to note some of their defensive pairings. Yeah. I mean, Bouchard, Ekholm, Nurse. say what you will about the Nurse contract, but he's a great player.
Totally. So I actually have that the top 4D is sick. Except Nurse always gets cooked.
He does. People hate that contract, man.
Well, he gets cooked for that, but then like in the game, he always gets cooked. Like at least once or twice in like every important game, you can find a highlight of Darnell Nurse just getting like absolutely just like toasted by somebody. So you know, I think Nurse is a great 4th D, but I think there is merit to his contract not being favorable for the org, and I don't think he's like, you know, a superstar necessarily, and he's kind of being paid to be one.
Thoughts on goaltending in Edmonton?
Will they trade for a goalie?
Do you think there is a world where Pickard could start over Skinner? Dude, I think that
Pickard's my boy.
Yeah, I think he's great.
Well, he's like the ultimate journeyman. He's got a great story.
Totally.
You know, like Stewart's got the mustache, but Pickard's got the backstory that makes you want to pull for him. You know, I think one of my favorite anecdotes about that was when we were at the Edmonton, Colorado game, and we were sitting next to some Oiler fans.
Oh yeah.
And the Colorado went up 3-0, and the Oiler guy just goes, "They need to just have Skinner take a nap. That's all he needs is just a little nap,
just a little rest."
Yeah. You know? So, and then my bold prediction for Edmonton is that they will not make the conference finals this year. They're going to get knocked out, I think, in the second round by Vegas.
I could see that,
and they aren't going to be able to push through.
It's a very different road for them this year, I think. They don't just have to beat the Kings to make it right. Like I think Vegas is gonna be quite the force on that side of the bracket.
And Vegas really leveled up.
Yeah.
And then worth noting, McDavid, as we mentioned it earlier, contract year for him. I think that dude's gonna go insane.
Yeah, I think somehow we'll find another level. I don't know how many levels there are left to find, but that guy.
It's gonna be crazy, I think, with McDavid, and he like doesn't even need to like go crazy to make
not just play normal
player. Yeah. But I think he's gonna go nuts. Third place, I have the Los Angeles Kings at 98 points. Totally. I think they're gonna take a step back from last year where they had over 100 points. And it's really just like, can they stay healthy with the aging stars, and can Fiala, Byfield, and Laferriere, like the younger stars, step up and take a step? And I'm not convinced there. And I think Doherty, especially Drew Doughty, he played 24 minutes and 8 seconds a night at 35 years old last year.
Wow.
And so, like, are you relying on that guy to keep doing that at his 35, 36 year season, you know? And I don't know. And then Kemper also.
I was going to say that's maybe one of the biggest points.
Totally.
Like, can Kemper keep up this form? Like, he was playing insane.
That dude was insane.
I remember watching one of the playoff games last season and just being like, why did we get rid of this guy?
Yeah, Avs Nation, I gotta say, we've totally messed up hating on Kemper so much. I wish we still had that dude around, because that dude was like top 3 in the NHL in like all significant goalie stats last year. Like,
yeah, he was incredible, absolutely incredible. And honestly, I think he will. I think he will show up, but I don't think it's going to be enough.
Yeah.
To win a cup, I don't think it's going to be enough to make the conference finals.
Yeah.
I just think they have too many other holes in the lineup.
I agree with that. And I have Vancouver at 4 at 95 points. My boy, Adam Foote. Dude, so stoked that guy's in charge. I actually think he's going to get them to like be a total grinder of a team and not be like a middle school drama story.
Please.
Dude, like, so I think that guy with his wicked nose is just going to like whip them into shape.
And they have one of the sickest mascots in the entire NHL. Like, let's be honest, their jerseys are great. Their mascots are great.
The Canucks is great. Man. Also, I love their like LEDs in the board sightings. At the atmosphere in that arena is like crazy. I've actually never been to a game, but just through the TV, you can feel it.
As an Avalanche fan, I feel like we envy some of these arenas and some of the atmosphere that people bring.
Yeah.
It's not quite there yet at Ball.
Ball Arena can do better. That's our hot take.
Yeah, Ball Arena can do better.
Yeah, but Ball Arena, if you're listening, you should study up and do better.
Give us a call. We'll give you some advice.
I got ideas. For Vancouver, though, I think Demko is going to have a huge year.
Oh, yeah.
He was hurt last year. I think he's going to be back healthy.
Yep.
He was back at the end, but it's always hard.
He was kind of battling all season, it seemed like.
Totally.
So yeah, hopefully he's all the way back. And
totally. Yeah, and then they did re-sign Brock Besser, which was surprising. Okay. And then they got Evander Kane, which I don't ever like playing against that guy, but like if he was on my team, I'd be stoked. Like that dude is gonna take pull his team into battle, and I think will be a positive signing, especially paired with Adam Foote as the coach, who was also a player like that. Yeah. And then they got Quinn Hughes, who, is the second best defenseman to Makar. We know him playing in Canada. Everybody will write about him being the best defenseman and be leading the Norris. But Makar just has him by that step, in my opinion.
There's levels to the game.
Yeah, that's right.
Makar's the next level.
Yeah. And then, my last note about Vancouver is they got some weak center depth. So I think that's going to be their downfall and the reason why they're going to end up kind of in that wild card spot. Yeah. Okay. And then after them, I got Calgary at 90 points. They're trying to allow young talent to develop. Nearly half their forwards are 25 or younger. Yeah, so I think this is just kind of a building year for them. They're kind of in this like transitionary phase where you have older guys like Kadri.
Shout out to Kadri. I love that guy as a hockey player.
Come back to Colorado.
We'll always take it.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. We'll cheer for you even when you're on the other team unless you score. That's the way it
Stay
goes.
Away from our goalies.
Yeah, for real. But then, speaking of goalies, Dustin Wolf signed a huge contract.
He's going to be great. I think that was a good choice, signing him. Yeah. Paying him what he needs.
Yeah. Well, and this is that's an extension, so that deal doesn't kick in until next year.
Oh, okay.
He's still on the cheaper deal for this year, but I think he's just going to be awesome, and he's going to pretty much carry them for parts of the season, but it's just not going to be enough,
So you think they're kind of a windows opening team?
I don't know if they have a window.
No non-existent window.
It's interesting with them. I have a hard time reading their team because like they do have younger guys that they're trying to let develop, but like 20, most of their guys are in the like 23 to 25, and like 25, like they can get better. Like their primes are like 27 to like 29 right about, but there's not going to be a ton of growth in that time. So I worry that Calgary is in that forever retooling zone where they're just going to be playing for the wild card until they truly blow their team up. So maybe they're like looking at a window from across the room, but like you got to kind of squint.
Can't quite see out it.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
It's a little hazy.
Yeah. Okay. It's like a room in a like LA apartment complex, like towards another building.
It's sunny out there, but you can't see any light.
That's right. That's right. And then there's Anaheim. I have in 6th with 87 points. I think they're going to continue to get better.
I'm pretty impressed with what the moves that they're making. I think I think they're on the rise, maybe at the bottom of their rise. And I think the next few seasons are going to be great for them. You're going to see them kind of climb the ranks and make a lot of progress.
Yeah, so they're a team that they've got a mix of like young studs that they got to keep developing and veterans who I think the management team is hoping will guide those younger players through their development process. And then you got Dostal in the back who will just like mask an awful defense, but like truly an awful defense. Dude, like you're looking at it now. What do you got? You got
Trouba, Helson, Gudas.
Yeah, it's like they got guys who can play, but it's not impressive. But that's going to be their downfall throughout the year. Yeah. They're going to score goals, but they're not going to be able to keep them out. But I do think Dostal will have a high save percentage, but he'll be in that, good goalie on a bad team department, high save percentage.
Taking a lot of shots, taking a lot of looks. Yeah.
And then I got San Jose in 7, which is maybe my hot take. I got them at 72 points, which for the record, they only had 52 points last year. So that's a 20-point improvement.
If memory serves me correct, they made a couple big acquisitions, right? To go with Celebrini and...
Yeah, so they've got 5 of their top 6 forwards under the age of 23.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, and so it's kind of like, can those young dudes like basically pop off, and can they start putting it together? And I mean, I think that they're going to, and just going to be really bad defensively, you know.
But, so it'll be fun to watch.
I have one of my notes is they could be awful, but they're going to be fun to watch, and they might be decent. And then Askarov in net is kind of this like under the radar guy that came in last year after they got Georgiev, and Georgiev was just awful because he's bad. Yo,
are you bringing up tough times?
Yeah. Georgiev was not the guy. Never was the guy.
Probably won't be the guy.
No, I don't even think he's in the league.
Really?
Yeah.
I think he got signed.
Sure. Do you think he did?
I did.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, Askarov came in and started playing really good, and as a young guy, I think he's going to be their goalie of the future. And then, he's not in the league, right?
He is. Buffalo Sabres have signed goaltender Alex Georgiev to a 1-year contract, $825,000.
Wow, league minimum. Yeah. We'll get to Buffalo. They're last. They're last in the Atlantic Division for me, so we'll get there. That maybe makes them. Yeah. I'll dock a couple points just for them signing Georgiev. And then last in the division, I have Seattle at 63 points. You know, they. I don't think they're going to respond to new coach Lane Lambert. Beniers and Kakko, I don't think take a step, and I actually think McCann takes a step back and has a bad year. And then I think Joey Decord is going to get hurt, and that's gonna leave Grubauer in net. And we know that Grubauer is like Swiss cheese back there.
Yeah,
like holes all over the place.
And he's aging. I mean, that guy's been in the league for so long now. I feel like.
Yeah. I got Vegas, Edmonton, LA, Vancouver, Calgary, Anaheim, San Jose, Seattle as my Pacific picks. So,
I think that's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, let us know what you think in the comments, what your predictions are.
Yeah. We'll be looking forward to some adverse opinions.
Yeah.
But thanks everybody for tuning in. I'm Scramble James.
I'm Kenny S.
Yep. This has been a presentation of Sports, a Network, our 2025-26 NHL preview. Keep it real out there. Have a great time, and let's enjoy watching some puck.
Woo.